I'm going to show you guys how I'm making these, just in case somebody wants to make their own. And so I just run my line out how I need it. Went over to the bead roller, just ran it through, and it made that. And then, of course, anytime you bead roll something, it's going to bend it. So I took it over the stretcher, and you can see the marks, or stretch it back flat. And then, so everything's flat. So to get this to, because you have to have this run right up next to that bead, I take these, and this is all I have. Now, if I had something better, it'd be great. I don't have anything, and I don't want to mar up this bead that I just rolled, or I would clamp onto this. Well, if you clamp onto that, you're gonna mar the bead up. So what I've done is basically I take it and put it real close to where that is, and then put it on this and just kind of bend it as I'm pushing down. I go all the way down a little bit at a time till I just get my first bend. So then it's bent just a little bit. Then you can set it on its edge. Now you can start bending it with your hammer. What you want to do is make sure that you're hitting down, but you're also hitting across to where you're seeing the whole thing bend. You're not just bending the edge, or you're not bending the whole thing. I hope that makes sense, but you'll get a feel for it as you're going. You got to kind of see I'm coming across like this. And I'm using this dolly to hold it square. Just again, a little bit at a time. And once you've got this first break, it tends to want to stay in that break area. So as you're bending it over, it's bending the whole piece instead of just like the edge of it. But you have to keep it right, otherwise you're not going to do any good here. You got to keep it to where you're actually, it's stiff. It makes it sense. The further you get it over, then obviously the easier it is. That initial hit, you're trying to really get it to just bend over that direction. But you can hear it, I'm not hitting it, it's solid as I hit it. I just don't have a lot of fancy tools. I'm sure guys have brakes and everything that they can do this with. I don't have one. And this is not a straight edge. This is curved like your cell panel is. So that's another thing you got to kind of consider. If you put it in a regular brake, it's gonna try to break it over straight, unless you make a buck or something like that. Which I watched the guy do that last night. It's very cool because when you do this, it's going to start making your metal twist up. So if you don't have a shrinker stretcher, you're going to need something to stretch it back into shape. He took 2 pieces of wood and cut it out how he wanted it, made one just about 1/4 inch shorter than the other one, and then clamped the metal in between and did what I'm doing now and just worked it and worked the puckers in and everything as it started shrinking in. And then when you pull it out of that buck, it's already flat. It doesn't do what this is because it's being held flat. So that's a really good thing, other than the fact that you're gonna have to have some woodworking type tools, bandsaw or something to cut those pieces of, I forgot what he used. wasn't plywood, but it was MDX maybe, or I don't know. A special kind of wood that works pretty good for that type of thing. You'll see some of the high-end people using those to actually build complete cars from sheet metal. You see now I've got quite a bit lighter on it, and I don't have to too much worry about it now. It's getting pretty close to being bent over. So then I can come in here on the side and start doing this, or I can even put this down and kind of tweak it like this. I'm gonna keep going like this for a little bit. Get it all the way at a 90. Now you can see it's actually over broke, and I'll come back in and kind of straighten this back out. That's a little bit over broke, but that's fine. That's the part that's going to be, you're going to weld up against the drip rail. So I left it a little bit long, so I made this for someone else so that he has something that he can grind down, because I don't know how, you know, his drip rails look or whatever. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll round the edges because you don't want to weld around the corner, my understanding. I'll clean this up a little bit more to where it's looks a little better. The other one's already done. You can see there what it looks like. And so you're gonna have basically, I got this upside down. Hopefully I'm showing you that. You're gonna have a set that has a little bit of a bend like that in it to where it comes up your drip rail. But that's from putting that original bead in it, and then just folding that over right up against the edge. So, and then you want to flatten this out as much as possible, which you're going to do with your, like here. It's not bad. It's really not that bad. But I'll come in with my shrinker stretcher and get that flattened out to where I can put it up against my quarter panel, and it'll lay flat, because you don't want to try to weld, obviously, if it's not the same contour as the panel. Hopefully that's right up against that edge. It's probably hard to tell in the deal, but I actually think I could go down just a little bit further with it. But I'm going to come over here and get this thing stretched back out. Because it was flexed in. And so I take my straight edge and I keep working it until I get it back to flat. And this shrinker stretcher, probably one of the better things that I bought. It really works well. After I had to do some fixing on it. I stretched it out quite a bit already, so, but it was bowed up pretty good. But that gets you back flat so that when you put it up here on your car, you don't have a bunch of gaps in there. So I probably need to, you see this edge right here, needs to come down a little bit more flat. The rest of it looks pretty stinking good. So I'll stretch that just a little bit more here, and that ought to do it. So, yep. All right, guys.